With Mercedes winning back-to-back races and 4 visits to the podium in the last 4 Grand Prix, they're hoping to capitalise on the momentum they are gathering by further upgrading the W15 this weekend at the Hungarian Grand Prix and then the following one in Spa before the summer shutdown. But what upgrades are Mercedes planning to bring to the car at the Hungarian Grand Prix? And will Red Bull's planned upgrades this weekend put them ahead of the field once again? Mercedes had struggled to get a handle on these ground effect cars in the first 2 seasons of these regulations. But around Monaco this year, a breakthrough was made with Chief Technical Officer James Allison stating that they couldn't believe that they had been so dumb. This led to Mercedes bolting on a newly designed front wing, which the drivers and the engineers saw change the car completely. Since then, Mercedes has brought upgrades to the car which have seen them leapfrog Ferrari and close the gap to Red Bull and McLaren at the front. These upgrades have included a new floor, revised brake ducts, a new beam wing and rear wing, and suspension, all of which has made the Mercedes W15 more stable and predictable across the low to high speed corners, which means the drivers don't have to drive the cars like they're dealing with a schizophrenic. Mercedes' technical team have been keeping a tight lip on what exactly we can expect from the impending updates at the Hungarian Grand Prix. But one thing we do know is that all of this comes from what they've found from the revised front wing. The front wing is the first thing to split the air while the car is moving through it. So, the way it is designed is critical as it will affect the airflow to the rest of the car. In fact, your whole car philosophy is based on what the front wing does to the air, and the rest of the car deals with the airflow the front wing creates. Now, the front wing is just one part of the Formula 1 car, and it's really down to how the car works as a whole. James Allison pointed out that it's about where you put your priorities, and that putting your priorities in the right place is what gives you a race-winning car. But the front wing is the first part of the car that the air touches. So the way that the front wing funnels that air around the car, and then how the car channels it across the bodywork and, in this era of Formula 1, under the car in the ground effect Venturi tunnels is all very important. If you don't get that first initial contact right, you can't get any of the rest of it right, which is why Mercedes saw such improvement with their revised Monaco front wing. So what we will see on the W15 will be refinements to the way that it attaches the flow or spills it from the revised front wing. With the upgrades that Mercedes have been bringing to the W15 relentlessly this season and getting them to work the way they are designed, Lewis Hamilton has stated that he believes they are one good upgrade away from consistently fighting at the front. And with the Silver Arrows bringing yet another upgrade package this weekend and the following one in Spa, we may well see Mercedes challenging for the podium in the coming races. That is, if Red Bull don't have something to say about it. Now, it is fair to say that in the European leg of the season, upgrades come thick and fast as all the teams are closer to their factories and they can ship out new parts easily and more cheaply to their teams. So most of the teams are going to be bringing upgrades at the moment. That includes Red Bull, who brought upgrades to Silverstone, which they couldn't seem to get to work the way they were meant to, and they will be bringing upgrades to Hungary as well, according to Dr. Helmut Marko, who says that he believes that they have been behind McLaren and even Mercedes on pure pace over the last few races, admitting that these upgrades have to work and that the team has to be perfect now in order for them to win. That's easy to say when you have Max Verstappen as your lead driver. The problem for Red Bull is that they are very close to the performance ceiling of these regulations, which is something that Adrian Newey was speaking about at the launch of the RB20 in Milton Keynes earlier this year. When pressed on this issue, he stated that he believes that the other teams will catch Red Bull in the middle of the season as they aren't able to upgrade at the same pace as these other teams. And the other teams have more low-hanging fruit, which is easy for them to pick off and add to their car, where Red Bull don't have those sort of large gains to add to their car anymore. On top of that, it has been reported that the Red Bull team is struggling with the correlation of their wind tunnel data to the on-track performance when they bring upgrades to the car, which is something that Mercedes was struggling with at the back end of last season, but now seems to have fixed going forward. Mercedes are in a completely different place. They've been able to make strides with new upgrades that they brought to the car, and they are now on the right path, which for Red Bull would be a concern. But for us Formula One fans, it is great news to see the racing in 2024 become more unpredictable and more entertaining each weekend. Do you think that Mercedes will be able to win more races in 2024? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.